Hello viewers all over the world. You are welcome to Express Politics on TVRC. I'm your host for today and my name is Abiola Michael. And today we have a honorable guest who is Dr. Akintunde Sanmi Vincent. Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
And good to have you on the show again. On today's Express Politics, we are going to be talking about the Nigerians' criticism of Tinubu's administration, the aftermath of the 2023 elections. We have seen a lot of criticism of this administration, this current administration, both online and offline, where people are complaining, lamenting about the situation of this country. So we are here to address it and see how it will play out. Welcome again, Doctor.
Thank
now,
you.
The first question I'm going to ask you is this, sir. What are the underlying reasons for the economic crisis facing Tinubu's administration presently?
The first one is poor planning.
Poor planning, okay.
Because who embarks on a war without counting the costs? So to fail to plan is to plan to fail.
Yes, right.
And again, there's this popular saying that says proper preparation prevent poor performance. So the problem, in my opinion, is poor planning.
Okay.
How on earth are you going to say to the world, announce to the world that the subsidy is gone on the day one, where you know that you don't have a concrete plan on ground on how to cushion the effects of the subsidy removal. So, like I said, it's poor planning. Number two is not just poor planning, poor policy formulation. Check it. How do you want to favor taxation ahead of production? When you are supposed to be thinking of how to produce more, I beg your pardon, how to produce more, how to support the local manufacturers, how to boost and support the SMSE, small, medium and scale enterprises. But instead, you want to tax them the more by creating tax reform, putting tax, creating a tax, people bringing people together to tax Nigerians. So, like I said, poor planning, poor policy formulation has been the bane of this government, this administration. That's been one of the reasons why we have looming crisis. And don't forget it, immediately after the subsidy was removed, you notice that the prices of goods and commodities skyrocketed.
Yes, it was so massive that we're like, what?
And it plunged Nigerians, Nigeria as a state, Nigerians as a people, it plunged them into poverty. Even the drivers of the economy, they are now begging for survival. Most of Nigerian graduates, at least average, they have what they are doing. They have something doing. You will check, based on statistics, you will see them having 2 or 3 skills. And, if your knowledge, if your certificate cannot fetch you something, they believe that your hand will fetch you something.
Yes.
So these graduates who are unable to get job, now trying to create job for themselves, you are making it difficult for them to survive. So, like I said, even the drivers of the economy. And what drives our economy in this country? It is the PMS.
The petrol.
Are you a baker? Are you making ice blocks? Are you operating as a salon? Do you have a salon?
Okay.
Like a barber or hairstylist? You will definitely make do with Are you a welder? Are you a welder? Are you like those who weld irons together? Are you a blacksmith? Are you a musician? Talk about any kind of job in this country.
Electricity is needed, very needed. I agree.
And if electricity is not, we have epileptic and erratic power supply in this country. What people will eventually resort to is the petrol PMS to drive their, and most of the household. In short, we have a complete building where all of them run on generator. because that's their source of energy. And now, to make life difficult for them, you not make the PMS, the accessible becomes very difficult. It is no longer accessible. People cannot, and even if they are able to access it, the affordability, you cannot afford it. 1,200 per liter. Was not in this country we had about university professor, trekking.
Can you imagine?
Trekking to the campus to go and to deliver lectures.
A professor.
A professor in this country.
Wow.
Because when I eventually asked, he said, to fro is back and forth his home is 7,000 naira.
Wow.
Now calculate 7,000 naira times 5 days. Sometimes 6 days, because they have to also do some other extracurricular activities during the week.
That's about 42,000 naira in a week.
In a week,
how much is he receiving?
Now in a month, then a year.
Wow.
So the only drivers of our economy make it bottlenecked. So, like I said, you're looking at the accessibility, the affordability, and so, like I said, poor policy formulation,
poor planning, yes.
and poor planning. This has been the problem of this incumbent administration.
All right, thank you, Doctor. Just as you mentioned, poor planning, as mentioned, the poor policies. Now, let's look at the how his administration has addressed these economical challenges facing Nigeria.
Initially, they actually addressed it poorly, very poorly.
Okay.
Because when you have a government without proper communication, then you will run into problem.
Yes.
Whatever you are doing, even if you have a reason why you are doing it, endeavor to explain to the people.
The public, this is what you're doing.
This is what I'm doing. This is what the government is doing, and it's because of this so and reason. This so reason. Then you are not an highland. Then allow Nigeria to weigh your reasons. Allow Nigerians to rationalize on your reason. Sometimes, most of these people in the government, they are doing it because of their selfish interest. For example, you want to remove the fuel subsidy.
Yes.
Because you believe that it is only in the hands of. It is only few Nigerians who are benefiting from the petroleum subsidy. Why not champion the cause? If subsidy is a must, why not be in charge of the subsidy? If we own our crude oil, thank God the refinery has finally come on board.
And recently we have the Port Harcourt refinery.
And it's not on board.
Yes.
Then why not try to champion the cause? And allow government to be in charge. If you don't trust people who are in charge of petroleum products, let them go. You be in charge. You try to employ. You get the marketers. You manage the marketers. Look at how the in and out of what is happening. And before you have a stable but when you put it in the hands of some people, I said they are sabotage. You are experiencing some sabotage in the system. Who caused it? So it's as if it's more or less like shying away from responsibility. A sense of being irresponsible when you say that what is currently facing Nigeria is because of poor leadership. Poor leadership. Like I said, poor communication. And what's it called? This stick and carrot approach, or being pseudo-democratic. Because I asked this question: why is the government saving? Is it saving because it wants to create more infrastructure? You say you don't want to pay subsidy. The money you remove from subsidy, what have you done with it? Like I said, you see, when the government is doing something, and you cannot put it under the bed, we definitely see. Look at this Port Harcourt refinery that is working now. We are all clapping for the government. This is what we want to be doing for our government. Not just for how many years now? It is over 1 year plus that this government took over power. They assumed power. Only 1 year plus, and now the refinery, the Port Harcourt refinery, is back on track. So for that 1 year, look at how many Nigerians has actually, how many Nigerians has actually gone for it. Some they are unable to feed their family. Some have moved back to the village. Some cannot even cope anymore.
Due to the hardship.
So this kind of approach will not do the country any good. If you have what is wrong What is wrong? This one that is just coming on board now. What's wrong is making it work for the past 7 or 8 months. Now, because Dangote is not becoming a sole ownership of this thing now, it's becoming this thing to the government. They are also rushing. They are also rushing now, so that they will create the kind of balance in the system. Because they don't. What are they scared of? Are they scared that the man will become more multi-trillionaire? Is that what they are scared of? So, this kind of approach will not do the country any good. So, like I said, poor communication. I think what's the question? What's the question again?
As the Tinubu's administration, how we addressed
they addressed it very poorly. Poor communication. And look at the protest. The protest eventually, so many people were silenced. To the extent that even to date, it is this administration that rendered the NSA, rendered them as toothless bulldog. It hasn't happened in this country before. They've always been very vibrant. But what happened over time? They are not becoming so timid, voiceless. Look at the MBA. We are not even hearing from the MBA
at all. I don't think we read for them in a very long time.
So what are we saying? Look at it is still same administration. So they undo the way they undo it. The ineffective communication, they silenced the opposition. The people were told they were late, to the extent that even the MBA, the NSC chairman was rough-handed on his way to London for a particular summit. So all manner. So they handled it poorly. But thank God that we are beginning to see something. Like I said, right. This Port Harcourt refinery is showing that now we can start talking about singing their praise again.
Yes. Now the revival of the Port Harcourt refinery has showed, has showed them that the government are now putting something on ground, putting something in track. So now the next question is that, what role does this international community play in shaping Nigeria's democratic process? The
role they play is it's not. I wouldn't call it. They played a very terrible role.
Okay, terrible in what sense?
Take a look at the IMF. IMF will tell you sometimes they'll bring about some certain policies. Like I said, we all have our peculiar situations.
Yes.
The situation in America is different from the situation in Nigeria.
Yes.
Like in America, they're always talking about abortion. They want to talk about LGBT. They want to talk about they talk about all manner of things, cryptocurrency. But in Nigeria, we are still currently facing it. We have our own peculiar problem. Most of our farmers cannot even access their farms anymore because of insecurity in the northeast, and in short, in all the northern Poland, in all the North Pole zones, in the northwest, the north central, the northeast, most of them cannot even access their farms. So what are you saying? And you want to come and influence, you want to come and impose your situation to come and impose your policy on us, to the extent that you want to tell us is LGBT a problem in Nigeria? Far from it. We have look at our PMAs. We own crude oil in this country. We can barely refine our crude oil ourselves. So we have our own peculiar situation. So one national body should just for now excuse us. Just let us be for now. Let us sort out our differences ourselves.
Okay.
So like I said, they played a very terrible role. They will tell you that subsidy is very bad. In their country, they are paying subsidy in their country. They are what as a citizen, what are you eventually going to benefit from your government? A government that cannot produce stable electricity, that cannot give a country a viable road. Our roads are becoming death traps. Our schools are becoming kidnappers' den. Our hospitals are in the state of squalor. Even those who are given birth in most of our hospitals, you notice that some of them they go to the maternity wards. You see them putting cloth on the floor, mat cloth on the floor, and you have to excuse as soon as your baby has arrived. You have to vacate the bed, and go and sleep on the corridor, so that you allow somebody else to go and to stay on the bed. Somebody who is about to give birth.
Wow, that's so terrible.
Well, this country we had about our Kankara boys being kidnapped, the Chibok girl being kidnapped, the Dachi boys being kidnapped, kidnapping here and there. Look at the number of kind of serial killing, ritual killing that is currently going on in some part of the country. Boys who are running faster than their shadows, poor values, no values. So what I would say in essence is, when you look at the situation over time, we need to be serious. The leadership must take up their responsibility serious, and the followers too must be, we must conscientize ourselves, and be the right. I mean, the followers must also get it right, because if you don't have some
Okay, when you mean followers, you mean the Nigerian people?
yes, Nigerian people must get it right, because if you don't have the requisite knowledge, you won't even know when you are being changed destiny wise. Because some of these leaders, they impose themselves, they buy the, they definitely they purchase their way to the top. But as a conscious citizen, you can always read between the line. You know, when somebody is using the Heineck as a machinery to his own side, and it's always very and it's always very obvious. And when you see executive buying houses for the judges, something is fishy somewhere.
Yes.
Because we have the tiers of we have the hands of the government, and they are supposed to work independently. So when the executive is taking it as a point of duty to buy, he who pays the piper dictate the tune. When they don't take a case to that judge, to the court, who do you think the judge will favor? Somebody who has, is it you that you are coming from somewhere? We first address it, we first take who pays the piper dictates the tune. So these are all the rubrics, these are all the lacunas, the imbroglio, the all manner.
All right, thank you, doctor. So now, just like you said, the international community has not really played a very good role, terrible role, because we just have to focus on what is at hand right now and try as much as possible to do.
And that's what we call what we call neo-colonial mentality.
Okay, what's that?
When you see when they want to recolonize you again under a different auspices, you want to be they will push so many things to you for you to embrace.
It's not that they will come.
It's more or less like it's more or less like a second colonial experience. They still want to control your country.
They'll put ideology.
Yeah, they still want to control you. So they will come in letters through their representative and push certain things at your table, and they will give you some benefits. It's okay if you do this, we'll give you this, we'll give you. They are still colonizing you. So it's happening. That's why this issue of IMF, World Bank, that's what they are doing. Because if they are paying subsidy in your country, why are you going to say subsidy is not right for Nigeria? They don't pay subsidy. Even if you are not, the point is subsidy is not bad. But when you allow a subsidy to find its way into the hands of criminal element, that's what makes it bad.
Yes.
Or even if you are going to bring out chunks, if you are going to chunks out a certain amount of money, you want to remove it from, you want to pump it into subsidy, you do it directly. You monitor it. It's going into whose hand? Or you pump it into the refinery for turnaround, maintenance. Yes. You keep maintaining. You pump into it so that it will be stable. We are among one of the leading producers of oil from 1 to 7. We are among in the world. Just imagine the number of countries we have in the world. We are among the 1 to 7 in the world.
And yet there's no.
Saudi Arabia, they are refining their oil. Iran is refining. In short, some country with small distance, they are all refining. But we here. So it has become an high side.
All right. Thank you, doctor. So now, how can this administration now win over the trust of Nigerians for the forthcoming 2027 elections?
Yeah, so but they must do the needful. Okay. They must know that Nigerians are suffering, and look at how they ensure they have to reduce. Look at the poverty index in the country. We have to reduce poverty. We have to make sure all sectors. The government must have the eyes of sparrows to look into the sectors, all sectors, everything holistically, from human development to capital development to infrastructure development, all development across structure, across board. Look at even health sector, Ministry of Health, Ministry of Power Supply, look at for how many times now we have the grid collapse. For how many years the grid collapse? Look at our boys. Look at was it recently we had about this our boy trap for Olympic. They could not even return with any medal. They look at our health sector. Ordinary Madagascar here, they have vaccine for COVID-19. Madagascar, that is very close to South Africa. We the giants of Africa, we cannot even boast of. We are not even talking about creating a vaccine for any kind of virus. So look at. Recently we talked about livestock ministry. We have agricultural ministry. Yet we still have farmer-sellers crisis. We cannot even resolve it. We have ministry of defense. Yet some of our areas they are still under the threat of terrorist attack. So All sectors must be thoroughly looked into if you are going to if you are going to like I said, this leadership crisis, and it takes the leadership to sit down, be creative, be innovative, come up with strategies, come up with techniques and ideas that will salvage the situation.
Mm.
They have all it takes. That's why it's called the president is always the chief commander of the armed forces. The president is always the landlord of the country.
Yes.
You cannot come to my house. I mean, I own the house. I know where I should manage. I know where I should patch. I know one that is required. I will not leave the pillar to collapse. You have to support the pillar. This is what we should be doing.
All right, thank you, doctor, for that. So here it is, viewers. Yeah, we have heard a lot. We are going to need to be touching all aspects, all sectors, in order for this present administration to gain the trust of Nigerians. We need to look at it holistically and make changes. The change can begin within each and every one of us. Personally, as a Nigerian people, I believe that we ourselves can become the change. Not just point to our leaders alone. We can start from somewhere. And I believe that Nigeria has a great and bright future. This is where we are going to drop the curtain on today's Express Politics. Until next time, thank you for having us, Doctor, once again. Until next time, bye for now.